Hello and good morning, everyone. 6:32 a.m. here, Wednesday, June 18th, 2014. This will be the daily wrap up for Tuesday's session. Two day trades on the same stock, SPEX, two new swing trades, and I picked up a little bit more of STV. So let's wrap that up. Here is the intraday chart from Tuesday. So what you're looking at is the 1 minute, 1 day chart. All right, so each one of these candlesticks represents 1 minute between 9:30 a.m. Eastern and 4 p.m.'s close. And so this was the day trade SPEX. It was actually first alerted by Luke in the chat room. Of course, he runs the day trade program, and once in a while I'll jump on these day trades to make a couple of extra $100. So there's the high day break right in through there. And you can see the range from 186 all the way up to 204 on that high day break. Now, I talk about how stocks move with or without you, and this is a really good example of it. So it opens, as most opens do, either slightly higher or slightly lower, but the true price action doesn't get built in until the session develops. So we go from 186 down to 180, and then it just slowly creeps up into a wedge right in through there. And then the volume usually comes because lots of day traders and swing traders are looking for this type of action. So it scoots right through and through here, and it had a catalyst. There was some news. So Luke alerted it, I think, at 190. I picked up 10,000 shares at 192, so I was a little bit late to the trade. But it did pop quite nicely from 192 all the way up to 204. I took 5,000 shares off at 202. So there's $500, right? A dime on 5,000 shares. And that's what a day trader is looking for. Consistent wins, but small wins, right? So 10 cents for me on the first 5,000 shares. And then it started to get frisky in through here. It had made a big move, so I decided to take the second 5,000 shares off at 199. So average 201, basically picked up 9 cents per share on 10,000 shares, and so that's $900. As it made a higher low in through here, I actually did a day trade on it and alerted it in chat, scooping shares up off of this support in through here, and when it made a move through the high a day, I took them for a nickel. So I took another 10,000 shares in through here, and I sold that rip right there for a nickel. So another $500. So I made somewhere between $1,300 and $1,400 day trading SPEX yesterday. Again, with a day trader, you're buying in blocks, so 5,000 shares, 10,000 shares, and you're just trying to hit a nickel, a dime, 20 cents, whatever your goals are. Mine are generally somewhere between those numbers, 5 cents, 10 cents, and 20 cents, depending on how many shares I buy. And this is all relative to the dollar price of stocks. If it's a $20 stock, it would be different, but more often than not, I'm trading stocks, and Luke is trading stocks under $5. So that's the specs trade. Nice day trading, like I said, a couple of nice wins, and that's $1,400. So we'll take a look at the swing trades now. Back into YOD early on, right in through here, and it moves up, makes a nice flag, and then breaks out to the high of day. I had a couple $1,000s profit when it made that move. I probably should have taken it. See that large volume in through there? So you get an early move, a flag, and then a high of day break. That would have been a good time to take half of my position off. I was up over 5%, and I had sat on the position all day long. But I really felt when this move started to go in challenge 4, because I had a small position, I felt like it was worth holding for that 4 break so I could see if it would go to 440, which is why I didn't sell in through here. Now, I know some of you did, and congratulations, you alerted it in chat and made money on that move. But again, this is one I think that gets really frisky above 4, so it's just a judgment call. Yes, I was up over 5%, closer to 7% in through here. Yes, I could have taken half or all of my position off. But again, I'm looking for that 4 to 440 move. So I felt like that could be the start. The volume was heavy enough to make me think it was going to go. It just didn't. So it kind of faded off into the close. Now, because I have a relatively small position, I can buy more shares if I want to. That's not a bad situation to be in, but never bad to take half of your position off just in case it does this. So learn from that. But again, it's more of a judgment call. I had a small position. If I had a large position, I would have definitely taken half of my position off into that rip. So like I said, YOD, this is the intraday price action, 1 minute, 1 day from Tuesday's market. It gets that early move from the 60s up to 390, and then it flags to the side. Because it doesn't break down, shorts and longs both see that. Shorts covered, long day traders, like I showed you with specs, will play that move, and you can get that rip. Sometimes that rip can turn into a much bigger move, all right? This time it just didn't. But overall, if you look at the 30-minute, 20-day chart on this one, you can see that this trend is just absolutely awesome. So I will be looking to buy more shares on this trend, right? And in general, looking for this to play out. So you can see that nice triangle. Once it gets above this 4 area that I've been discussing, that's where I think it runs to 440, because if you were to go further back than a 30-minute, 20-day chart, you would see that there's no resistance between 4 and the middle 4s. So if it gets above there, it's a full-on squeeze. Day traders will move in. It might take a press release from the company, a positive press release from the company for that to happen. Who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. That's part of the swing trading program, trying to time stocks that have a high probability of making good news. And I think that this one does. So that's the reason for jumping back into YOD. All right, I took it right off that trend line and through there. It got up, it got over, and it got up again, but it just rejected that 4 breakout. So you can see it very clearly on this 30-minute, 20-day chart. Up, over, those are the type of flags that you want to see. Think of a pennant or a flagpole. So when you go up and you go over, that's a sign that you're probably going higher if it doesn't come back in. And it didn't, which is why it went higher first. But then because it didn't break 4, people took profits. So I've explained that one, I think, pretty clearly. We've been trading that on and off ever since that big news a while back, and we'll continue to do so. There's the big news, right? $2 all the way up to almost 4, so almost 100% move in no time. All right, so that's YOD. STV, not much to say here. I just added to my position. Again, really nice pattern, continuation pattern. Up, higher low, up, higher low, up, higher low, up, higher low, up, higher low. So above 5 and this thing gets really frisky, and that's all I'm playing in through here. I've already taken about $1,300 off the table, so my position is relatively normal for me on this one. And when we get to 5 or through 5, I would be looking to take half off and then see if it can go 5 to 530s or 5 to 550s with the other half. So that's kind of how I'm going to play this one. I wouldn't be opposed to buying more shares. Like I said, I'm at a normal position. YOD, I'm slightly under my full size. This one, I'm normal size. So do I sometimes go big? Yes. If I thought it was going to break that $5 area, that's when I would, but I would be off of some of those shares the same day, so I don't have the overnight exposure. So that's the STV trade. Again, I picked up more shares on the 1 minute, 1 day right here. Notice the price action, 480 down to 460. So the early morning volatility, this is why I don't use physical stops, because I've been robbed of my shares just like that before, where I would put a physical stop in, it would take me out, and then the price would be higher than the open within minutes. That's very frustrating. I've lost about $6,000 on a trade once doing that. The company was James River Coal, JRCC. I think they're currently bankrupt now, but they used to trade very, very good. And, it opened, it flushed, took my shares, and snapped right back up. And right there is where I lost the $6,000. It's because I had a good till cancel stop loss in. Don't use the good till cancel stop loss on volatile stocks at the open. This can happen to you. You can be robbed, and then look, and the price action could be higher where you would have actually been in a profit. So that's very frustrating. All right, so if you look at just the 3 minute, 10 day on this one, you'll see why I bought more shares in through there. That's not a good representation. Let's go 3 minute, 3 day. So this is why I bought more shares. Notice how the price action was just drifting at a really nice level in through here. See that? So you get this move up, you get the higher low, the move up, and now it's consolidating at a higher low. So it had plenty of time to fall apart is what I'm trying to say. Because it didn't fall apart, that was my key to buy more shares. So it gets up and it gets above this level, but it doesn't hold that level, so it drifts, but drifts at a higher low. Really good sign that this wants to go for 5. This thing has got a good catalyst. There's a good reason for it to be up here, which means it could make another move above 5. So we'll see whether or not that plays out for us. That's the STV trade. And then last but not least, the liquid metal trade. LQMT, and this was on the watch list on Monday. So read the watch list on the watch list on Monday, which was this price action and through here. And I'm frustrated that I didn't get it, but I didn't. So you're looking at 3 minute, 3 day now. We'll just stay with this and through here. Here's your high a day break. Do you see what I'm talking about? And here's your itsy bitsy spider. And so let me pull over, and I just have to decrease the size of my window here, but let me pull over a fresh Google tab for you, and I can show you what I'm talking about. So here's a fresh Google tab. Let me just get this sized right. This is a 720, not 1080 video, so my window is a little bit smaller. All you had to do to see why it was creeping towards the high of day is Google liquid metal and then click on news. And the news was right there in front of you. You had the news suggesting that the news that covered IVE suggesting the iPhone 6 would have new materials in it. So that was really important news because for the first time in a long time, we have coverage from somebody within the company that's suggesting new materials, sapphire, liquid metal, etc., are going to be in the iPhone 6. We don't know which ones and we don't know how much, but the story sells the stock, or I shouldn't say sells the stock, but the story drives the stock. All right, it's a pretty big story. So anyways, it was writing through here. I linked them for you. TechCrunch, let's see if the latest news, where's the latest news? Apple renews. Let me search liquid metal and IVE. All right, Apple, IVE's hints, and that's the 16th, and then it was also on, there was a couple of more articles, and you can just check them in the links that I gave you in the email. So IVE hints that liquid metal or new materials, and in this article you see liquid metal sapphire parts, right? So this sentence is key, suggesting both new form factors and the possible introduction of the long-awaited liquid metal and sapphire parts. So that's really big news. Apple Insider is a really, really big site. What do I mean by that? Well, if you go to Alexa, and these are all things I've taught before, but good to cover. So if you go to Alexa and you just see how big this website is. Oops, we don't want to create an account right now. We just want to see how big this site is. So this is how many people are following sites like this, all right? 5,000 in the world, 2,500 in the United States, right? So these stories, they reach huge audiences, and huge audiences creates demand, and demand can drive a share price higher. So we've seen this happen time and time again with liquid metal. And now because we have a credible source from inside the company suggesting that new materials are going to be used, it's the best catalyst we've ever seen for liquid metal. Before it was always TechCrunch or Wall Street Journal and all these writers speculating, right? Because it's a hot story, so they write about it. But now we have actual credible news, right? It's not like he's coming right out and saying, hey, the chassis is liquid metal, right? That's not going to happen. But he's saying new materials, and everybody's speculating on liquid metal, and that combination is what can drive the stock really higher. So I'm a little bit disappointed that I didn't buy it previously in through here and pick up on that news quickly. That's what shot it up at the open. Those articles like that are what shoots it up, right? And so this one could continue higher. I would think easily into the 30s and then consolidate. So that's kind of what we're looking for here, all right? Or at least it's what I'm looking for. You trade it how you want to, but it should slow down in the low 30s, I would think, maybe 34, right in through there. So watch that, but I've got a good feeling that this one continues to climb. It might be choppy for a couple days as the story develops, or even a couple of weeks, and we'll just have to take it play by play. I bought it a little bit higher than I wanted to, all right? Remember the previous alert was right here on this weakness. So I bought that, and then I sold that right there, just a penny off the high for a $20,000 win. So that was a beautiful trade. And so this continuation pattern in the higher low, I had been bidding 18, but it never came back into 18. I should have taken the higher low one through here because that would have put me in the low 20s instead of at 24. But I'm okay with 24 because, again, for the first time in a long time, we have a credible source. All right, again, not naming specifically liquid metal, but again, sapphire, liquid metal is being tossed into those articles, and that could drive the stock significantly higher. It gets up into these ranges, I'd be out of half at least above 30s, but we'll have to see how that plays. All right, so that's the daily wrap. A lot of information, but hopefully good information for you. Let's have a great day. Watch list is coming your way shortly.